In a remote corner of West Africa, there exists a secret society that outsiders are rarely allowed to enter. Not because its members hold political power, not because they control wealth, but because the secrets they protect have survived for generations. Into the Gambia, Kanyelang Sisterhood has long served as a refuge for women carrying burdens that society seldom wants to acknowledge. Infertility, the loss of a child, rejection, and countless other silent tragedies. Yet what makes this community so remarkable is that, rather than hiding their pain in the shadows, they bring it into the open. Through song, through satire-filled dances, through performances that leave outsiders both laughing and deeply confused. We were granted a rare opportunity to enter this closed world. Behind the sacred chants and rhythm-filled ceremonies lies a quiet struggle to preserve cultural identity in a society changing faster than ever before. But the deeper we ventured into the Kanyelang community, the more we realized this was far more than a sisterhood. It is a system of survival, a place where personal suffering is transformed into collective strength, and an ancient tradition fighting to remain alive in 2026. Yet this is only the surface of the story. Their voices can be heard from far away, piercing, chaotic, almost impossible to ignore. Whenever Kanyelang women arrive, public spaces seem to transform completely. They wear striking costumes, perform high-energy dances, and constantly joke through songs laced with sharp satire. At first glance, it all resembles a lively spectacle, a street festival, a communal celebration. But that impression quickly fades once you realize that none of this chaos is accidental. Every laugh, every joke, every exaggerated gesture serves a greater purpose. In a society where a woman's worth is often tied to her ability to bear children, the Kanyelang have created a unique shield for themselves. They turn attention into a weapon, laughter into armor, and public performance into a space where no one can easily shame them. But what is most striking is this. What we see on the surface is only a mask. The more closely we listen to their songs, the more their true meaning begins to emerge. Beneath the energetic drum beats lie stories of loss. Children who never had the chance to grow up, mothers forced to endure grief in silence, and women who have faced pity, judgment, or exclusion because they could not have children. What surprised us most was not the tragedy itself. It was the way they chose to confront it. Not through silence, but through music. Not through isolation, but through unity. One elder member told us that these songs allow them to transform private pain into collective strength. Instead of grieving alone, they sing together. Instead of hiding their wounds, they make them part of who they are. And this story stretches far beyond the present day. The origins of these sacred songs are believed to date back to the pre-colonial era, when women held unique spiritual roles within their communities and were seen as intermediaries between the human world and sacred forces beyond it. Today, much of that authority has faded, but the songs remain, the rituals remain, and through the Kanyelang, memories of an older world continue to pass from one generation to the next. Yet as modern society changes at an accelerating pace, a larger question begins to emerge. Can this tradition survive the future? The deeper we were allowed into the world of the Kanyelang, the more we realized that the songs were only the first doorway. Beyond the music lies an entire system of symbols that outsiders can scarcely understand. A seashell worn around the neck, a mark of clay upon the skin, a drum passed down through generations. At first glance, they appear to be simple ceremonial objects. But to Kanyelang members, every detail carries meaning. They tell the story of a woman's place within the community, the hardships she has endured, and the pain she has learned to carry throughout her life. What astonished us most was a ritual that outsiders are rarely allowed to witness. There were no lengthy speeches, no formal declarations, only synchronized breathing within a silent circle. One by one, the women stepped forward. Their personal suffering was not expressed through words, but through presence, through rhythm, through movements understood by everyone within the circle. In that moment, an individual's tragedy no longer belonged solely to them. It was received by the entire community. The burden was shared. The loneliness was broken. And this is the fundamental strength that has allowed the Kanyelang to endure for centuries. Yet this is also where a difficult question arises. What happens when ancient symbols enter the digital age? Today, many young Gambian women carry smartphones while continuing to participate in traditional ceremonies. They upload public performances to social media. They use online platforms to stay connected with members living far away. Yet at the same time, they work carefully to protect the most sacred parts of their tradition from the gaze of the outside world. A delicate balance, revealing enough to survive, but never revealing so much that the soul of the tradition is lost. And that is only one of the pressures facing the Kanyelang today. Beyond this circle lies a world changing at an unprecedented pace. Modern religious movements offer different explanations for suffering and healing. Medical institutions provide scientific approaches to infertility and psychological trauma. Meanwhile, the ancient animist beliefs that once formed the foundation of Kanyelang are increasingly being questioned. Many argue that this tradition belongs to the past. Yet what is fascinating is that younger generations often see it very differently. To them, Kanyelang is not merely a ritual, not merely culture. It is also a rare emotional support network in a society where many women are still expected to bear their struggles in silence. A place where they can be heard, understood, and protected by others who have endured the same pain. Yet it is here that Kanyelang's greatest paradox begins to emerge. To survive, they must remain visible. They must sing. They must dance. They must be seen. But to preserve their essence, they must also continue to conceal their most important secrets. Caught between visibility and mystery, between openness and secrecy, between the future and the past, the Kanyelang continue to walk an extraordinarily fragile line. And the final question remains unanswered. Will the modern world transform the Kanyelang? Or will the Kanyelang transform the way the world understands pain, healing, and the power of sisterhood? As our time with the Kanyelang came to an end, we realized that this story was never only about a secret society in the Gambia. It touches something far larger, a question that belongs to all of us. What do human beings do with their pain? For decades, the modern world has searched for answers through science, medicine, and psychology. Yet an increasing number of researchers have begun paying attention to something that seems remarkably old. Healing does not always begin with the individual. Sometimes, it begins with the community, with the feeling of being seen, to be heard, and to share one's burden with people who understand exactly what has been endured. In many ways, the Kanyelang were practicing this philosophy long before the modern world gave it a name. In circles of song, in communal rituals, in those moments when a woman no longer had to face tragedy alone. What makes this tradition remarkable is not its mystery, but its resilience. Through generations, through social upheaval, through colonization, modernization, and globalization, the Kanyelang have endured, not through force, not through political power, but through memory, through sisterhood, and through a determination to preserve a part of their identity that they believe must never disappear. Today, as global culture increasingly makes communities look alike, these women continue to safeguard the old songs, the old symbols, the old stories, like the last gatekeepers standing before the doorway of a world that is slowly fading away. Perhaps that is why the Kanyelang continue to fascinate so many people. Because behind the laughter, the dancing, and the seemingly chaotic performances lies a simple truth, yet an extraordinarily powerful one. That pain does not have to destroy people. It can become the very thing that brings them together. That the deepest losses do not necessarily end in isolation. They can become the foundation of a community. And that true strength is not always found in avoiding tragedy. Sometimes, it is found in the ability to carry it together. The Kanyelang understood this long ago. And perhaps, in a world that is becoming increasingly connected yet increasingly lonely, that is the most valuable lesson they have to offer. A lesson not only for the Gambia, but for all of us. As the final drum beats slowly fade away, and the ancient songs dissolve into the Gambian night, what remains is not the mystery of a secret society, but the story of people who refuse to let pain define their lives. In a world that constantly urges us to be strong on our own, the women of the Kanyelang have chosen a different path. They carry loss together, they heal together, and they protect memories that time itself has not been able to erase. Perhaps that is why this tradition has survived for centuries. Because sometimes, what allows a culture to endure is not strength or power, but the people who remain committed to preserving it, even as the world changes all around them. If you found this story fascinating, Be sure to subscribe to Discovery Channel and join us for future journeys into the unknown. Because beyond the horizon, there are still mysterious communities, little-known cultures, and extraordinary stories waiting to be told. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next exploration.